Hi, my name is Spina Bifida. I'm also known as Shan. Before my tragedy, I lived a normal life in South Africa. I became a quadruple amputee due to septicemia. I was in a coma for nearly 2 weeks in early 2017. While I was in the coma, my hands, feet, nose, and lips died, and I was told I needed to have my hands and feet amputated. To date, I've had 66 surgeries, with approximately 20 more to go, to reconstruct my jaw, mouth, and nose. I have remained positive through all of this and believe that can't is not a word, and that you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. This show is to motivate and inspire others through my story as well as my guest story. Welcome to my show. This is Shan. I have an amazing guest with me today. His name is Doug Anderson, and he was born with Spina Bifida. He knows exactly what it is to be a disabled person and to be discriminated. Hi, Doug.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Please tell us a bit about what happened to you.
So I was born with a condition called Spina Bifida. And essentially what it is when the fetus is developing, the neural tube, which then ultimately becomes your spinal cord and spinal column, doesn't develop properly. And it can happen anywhere along the spine, including the skull. For me, it happened just above the coccyx, L3. So it only damaged a couple of nerves that supply the legs and feet.
Now, what challenges exactly has this brought upon your life?
Challenges, everyday. It's not really the disability that actually brings on the challenges. It's the environment
It's
and
the people around
society that bring on the challenges. It's not the disability. So my challenges are accessibility, getting into and out of places, places that don't provide ramps, lifts, that have stairs. Yeah, I suppose that's probably the main sort of physical challenges that I face. There's a lot of societal challenges, attitudinal challenges. We live in a world that isn't really accepting
Kind to us.
of people with all disabilities. Really. It's like an everyday sort of mix of challenges that I face.
Now, how did your family react to all of this when you were born?
My parents are fighters, so they took on the challenge head on. I think that's where I get my fighting spirit from.
And your strength?
So when I was born, the doctors gave me a 2% chance of survival. In 1977, I was born in a little town called Welkom. I became a celebrity overnight because doctors there had never seen a child with spina bifida, so doctors from far and wide came to see me. They said to my parents that I won't live past 24 hours. When I reached 24 hours, they said, okay, you won't get past 48 hours. Got to 48 hours, and then their next milestone was 7 days. And at 7 days, because I required surgery at birth, at 7 days I had the first of many, many operations.
Weren't you quite sporty?
Yes, I was. So I was. I went to preschool, creche, at a school called Hope School, which is in Westcliff, and it's a school that caters for kids with disabilities. And then in grade 1, I was actually sent to a mainstream school, which I won't mention. But during the middle of grade 1, there was a fire drill, and I couldn't get out of the classroom quick enough, and the school expelled me. And the basis for expelling me was I was considered a risk to the school should there be a fire or a bomb or something like that. So my parents fought the then TED for the remainder of the year, and eventually they were told that they need to put me in Hope School. So I started grade 1 again at Hope School and matriculated there. And then I started getting involved in sport for people with disabilities around standard 3, standard 4. Actually played wheelchair basketball below the minimum age.
Required age.
Required, yeah. And yeah, found that I was quite sporty, so I represented my province. Back then it was Southern Transvaal. It changed to Central Gauteng from 1990 to 1997 at the National Championships. In 1996, I was chosen to represent South Africa at the World Wheelchair Games.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm thankful for being introduced, to sport for people with disabilities.
And that just shows that anything you put your mind to, as long as you're positive,
Absolutely.
you can do anything.
Absolutely.
And now, what are you doing with yourself now?
I work at the SABC. I work for Radio 2000 on the 1st of January 2007. And I was a DJ with them until the end of November 2012. And during November, I was asked if I would join the operations side of Radio 2000. So since the 1st of December 2012, I've been senior content producer at the station.
And I hear that you have started an amazing campaign. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Hashtag me and my scars.
Yes.
It's something that I've been wanting to do for years. I knew the message that I wanted to communicate. I wasn't sure how I wanted to communicate it. I'm sure you have had this experience, but I was actually quite self-conscious. I've had 49 surgeries, so a lot of my body carries scars, and I remember as a kid being teased, not just with having a disability, but also being scarred. And so I knew I wanted to communicate this message, but I wasn't sure how. And then a friend of mine said, there's strength in vulnerability, and you should tell your story and use your scars, because that's the message that I want to convey, is that with scars you're beautiful. Alicia Cara in her song, it's just, no scars to you're beautiful.
Yes.
And it's exactly that. I think society needs to change its heart. We need to change what we're teaching. I find it shocking that teenagers, like we'll play with social media apps that, whatever, put crowns
Filters
on,
and all that stuff.
but when you've got teenage girls that are using filters to make themselves look beautiful,
Yeah.
That's a problem for me. One, on that front, the girl grows up thinking that she needs to be this thing that isn't real to be considered beautiful. That's on the one side. The other side is you're teaching young boys to grow up to
Thinking
expect that's your measure, and that's not the measure.
Yes.
So, besides the teasing and all of that I wanted to change, I really just wanted to put that out into the universe, to say, with scars you're beautiful, and I can't expect people to just follow what I say. I need to, set the example. So then I was like, okay, I got over myself and said, all right. And my best mate is a photographer, so I got him to photograph all my scars. And then, I sat with those for a couple months, and I wasn't sure how I wanted to get that message out using these images. And, I was considering art galleries and things like that. And then I thought, no, let me take the scars and make them beautiful. So I put some artistic flair on them, and, made them pretty.
Your scars don't determine who you are.
Exactly.
They don't define who you are. But there's also a lot of people out there that don't wear their scars outside. They wear their scars inside. Have you gone through any of those challenges?
Absolutely. I have plenty of physical scars, but
Yes.
along with those physical scars, there's plenty emotional scars, psychological scars. I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask to suffer from depression, from anxiety. I didn't ask to be born with Spina Bifida. I didn't ask to have, 49 surgeries and to carry scars. It's, I didn't ask for any of that. I'm just trying to get by, make a difference in the world. I'm very much along those lines. A nickname that I was given along the way is Mr. Making a Difference, because, the different universal philosophies that I believe, as you think and say you are, as you sow you reap, So I've always tried to help where I can and get involved in CSI projects and trying to change the world in my own little way with what I have where I am.
Yes.
I think it would be a waste, for someone to have gone through an ordeal and not share with someone else how they got through that ordeal.
Yes.
So I think where we can share and help people along,
And motivate and inspire
that's what
them.
makes us human. I think it's at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
In this program, we like to give our guest a word and like them to elaborate on the word. And today's word is scar. Now, when I think of scars, I think of we've overcome something.
Yes.
We've got a story to tell. I mean, anybody you see them, we've all got scars. And somebody will go up and say, how did you get this scar? How did you get that scar? And then they'll tell you the story about their scar. Now, when you think of the word scars, what comes to mind?
That we survived, that we won the battle, that we overcame. Everything positive, I guess, that you would, because your go-to normally, we've been conditioned that, it's a tragedy, and so you have all the negative.
Yes.
But for me, the scars represent all the positives. Out of it,
yes.
I was fortunate enough that I went to a school that had kids with various disabilities, and I stayed in hostel. And the very first thing that gets knocked out of you is this is self-pity, right? Because if you look to your left or you look to your right, there was always someone with self-pity.
Else.
So it was, suck it up, buttercup. This is it. You didn't get help if you didn't ask. And it wasn't the most accessible of. I mean, it was accessible, but it was a big school and the classrooms were far apart and departments were far apart. So.
They didn't baby you, in other words.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you didn't ask for help, you didn't get it. And if you were looking for sympathy,
wrong place.
Yeah, it was knocked out of you. So I think for me, it gave me an appreciation of, yeah, sure. In a moment in time, this situation sucks, and I've had a few of those. I think we all, have those moments in time. But, in comparison, yeah, I mean, you and me,
Yes.
like, I mean, your challenges, yeah, I don't know. If I had to go through the same challenges, would I be able to, So I think you need to have respect for people that go through whatever it is that they're going through,
Yes.
And just be kind. It's like, how hard can it be, we don't know the battles that people face, and there are a lot of people on the planet that and this campaign, I've used my physical scars, but the psychological scars, the scars that you don't see. There are a lot of people that carry those scars, and you don't know what someone is going through. So just be nice, be kind, and let's teach our kids not to tease, but to be more accepting. Just because you're different. Doesn't mean that you are lesser.
Exactly.
For me. So yeah, I think that's what scars, mean to me.
To you. I'd like to thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Thank you.
And for sharing your story. It's put a little bit of light out there for me, because I became a quadruple amputee in 2017. So I haven't been going through this my whole life. It's only been the last 3 years where you've gone through it your whole life, and you've had to live for it longer than I have. And I'd just like to thank you for sharing it with me.
You can put an end to a long debate that I've had with many people on my journey. And it's this: whenever I meet people, they, ask you the usual questions, some of them very inappropriate for people that aren't your friends. They want to know specifics, like
how you do this and how you do that.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been asked some very strange stuff over the years. But one of the discussions that usually comes up is, I find that people say, how did this happen? And then as soon as I say I've had a disability from birth, the automatic assumption is, oh, okay, so you're used to this and you're fine, and that's awesome. At least you didn't know better. You didn't know what it was like to walk and then not be able to walk. So you can answer or put an end to this for me. The difference between being born with a disability or acquiring a disability. Do you think it's easier for someone who is born than someone who acquires? Because from my standpoint, whether you're born with one or acquire one, you still need the emotional intelligence and the drive and the spirit to get over it and to make it work for you.
Well, for me, it was a bit of a difficult one because I'm a mother.
Right.
I've got a daughter and she's 14 now. So that was a difficult thing because as a mother, you're always running around after them, helping them, trying to do your best for them. And knowing what I was capable of doing before, it doesn't say that I'm not capable of the same thing now. It's just a little bit more of a challenge to do it now. So I would, not knowing to knowing, I think it would have been a little bit easier on me if I had grown up with the disability, being whereas I know what I could have done before to now, if that answers your question.
You must teach us all one day, as I said at the beginning, respect. The saying goes, you can embrace change or change will embrace you. Either way, change is going to happen, right? But in your case, from what I understand, in a very short space of time, that change was there. And I think there are a lot of valuable lessons that you can teach all of us. So thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And to the viewers out there, just remember, it doesn't matter what is put in front of you, as long as you are positive and you have your heart and your mind set to it, you can do anything. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Till next time. Cool. Thank you very much, Doug. Thank you.